mind. We're uncaged.
Welcome to Topple Uncaged. I'm Steve Topple and you're locked on to the UK's hottest politics and music podcast. Each week I bring you the rawest takes on the big stories making the news, always joined by a very special guest. Then I pleasure your mind, body and soul with the freshest, most banging international music going.
Uncaged.
Come the man called Mortimer. You better overstand now. Overstand now. Watch it. I know every smile I smile. Sometimes it takes a...
My guest on today's show has for me released one of the tracks of 2019. It is this gorgeous, gorgeous mix of roots reggae coupled with real soul overtones and soul kind of expressions throughout it. Fantastic video as well to boot, and it has been blowing up, getting some really, really positive feedback from all manner of people. Really, really strong stuff. But this should be no surprise for this guest because he is consistent in releasing powerful, musically eclectic, interesting and thoroughly soulful tracks for across several years now. And not only that, he's also just dropped a couple of songs with a certain Grammy nominated Protojé along the way. I'm really excited to be able to speak to him. It's taken us a few weeks actually to get to this point, to be able to link up and finally be able to chat, but it's great to have him on to explore this artist more. I'm very pleased to introduce for the first time to the podcast the incredible Mortimer. Mortimer, thank you so much for coming on. We got here in the end. We've eventually got round to getting this interview done, so I'm really pleased to be able to welcome you on to the show.
I give thanks. I appreciate it, man. And enough love for having me as well. Don't know. Bless up. Yeah, man.
Thank you so much. So let's talk about this track that I think is one of the tracks of the year, because it is incredible lightning. You dropped the video to it a few weeks ago now, actually, and it's an absolutely stunningly beautiful piece of work, is the only way I can describe it. And it covers all bases as well. It's beautiful musically, it's beautiful lyrically, and it's beautiful visually. It is a complete package of a track. Just beautiful, and your vocal performance on it is absolutely amazing as well. It's just perfect, Mortimer, in my mind. What the song itself? It's a real kind of classic love song and proclamation of sort of deep-rooted love for another person, and very spiritual as well. I mean, what or who, if I can ask, was the motivation behind the track to start with? Go on, tell us.
Give thanks, first of all, and it's just the love that I have for my wife, you know what I mean? She's also the mother of my children too, as well. You know, we've been together for a couple of years now, and it's been a learning experience. It's been very good too, on a whole, and she's somebody that I really check for, that kind of way. We are friends, even more than love. We have a respect for each other, you know what I mean? Because love is, you can always say we love, but then if the respect is not there, then, you know what I mean? So, and the friendship is not there. We've taken our time to build, and we're growing as we go, and we're growing with each other too as well, that's the inspiration behind Lightning, I felt like the way I met her was so instant and was so off guard. It wasn't planned, it wasn't anything like that, I just saw her and I felt like, actually one of my other brethren wanted to pursue her at first, and I was like, I was like, brother, if you don't plan to stay with this woman, leave her alone, you know what I mean? And then I just supine after that. Yeah, and we are here 5 years later, you know what I mean? It's yeah, man. So she's the main inspiration, for Lightning, Yeah, man.
That's such a great story. I love that one of your friends was trying it as well. Does she? What does she think of the fact that you've written this song about her? Is she happy about it? Does she like the song?
Yeah, she loves the song.
Phew.
Yeah, man, she loves the song.
Excellent. And well, so she should. Like I said, it's most beautiful in some respects because of the musical composition that you have created here. I mean, it's extremely interesting musically because you've kind of got it's almost like there's distinct elements of kind of roots in there. You can hear a kind of slight bubble pattern going on in the background, but it's not the sort of main prominent feature of the whole track. You've then got the horn section, which again is kind of very reggae, but then you go into this soul area, not least with your stunning vocals across this track, but also the use of the Hammond organ as well. It's kind of it's a hybrid of styles almost, which I think is very, very, very cleverly done. And it sums up your music more broadly because listening to all your work and then on top of that what you've done with Protojé, obviously, you can't kind of box you into one genre almost. There's inflections of soul in everything you do, but there's still this kind of roots grounding, and then other genres kind of come into it as well. There's elements of dub in tracks like kind of Careful, and you've got Warning as well, which you can't pigeonhole you, Mortimer, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, where does this kind of eclecticism and these tastes and different elements of music, where does this come from in you instead of just doing straight roots reggae, I suppose is what I'm getting at, really?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of music, a lot of different kinds of music. I listen to gospel and soul and R&B things. I listen to dancehall. I listen to reggae music. Funk, everything. So I think it's just over time. All the stuff that are just in me. Over time, naturally, like I progress that direction. And I try not to box myself into it. Something I have to consciously remind myself of. Like, don't know all these things and try to just zoom in on one. Instead, use all of these things to try to make one thing. You understand? So, like, I try to express everything that I know. You understand? Or you don't know. Like, you never fully know anything. You grow as you go. But so far, I try to express everything that I've adopted over time. Everything that I've listened to, every conversation that I've had, I try to tap in more to my feelings as well. So I see beyond just like a physical thing more time. I try to see, what's behind it, what's in it, what's around it, what's, I try to see that in things. That's why I don't look with my eyes, I look with my heart and my soul. So, the kind of style and thing, it's not necessarily deliberate. I think over time of just being, listening to a lot of music over time, it just comes out, it just comes out. And then it's not just even listening to, I love these music that I listen to. The kind of music that I listen to, I love the kind of music that I listen to, So loving it and singing them all the time, just become a part of me over time. And I guess that's what's filtering out right now, without me even knowing, it's just people saying these things. And I'm like, well, cool. Well, I guess it's all coming out of me, Yeah, man.
I love that, and that for me is the best way to produce music, because I think if you sort of really sat down and went like, right, I want to produce a roots soul mix-up track, it probably wouldn't work as well. It's because it is natural. Do you know what I mean? No, because you're doing it. I think that's the best way to do it, because it is just natural. It then feels completely authentic and completely as it should, with you as an artist, the fact that it does just come out like that, and the soul influences are really, really, really stand out for me. I mean, I just, your voice as well, it's absolutely gorgeous, and your voice is that of a soul singer, for me anyway. When did you first sort of realise that you had this talent, and how did that then progress into you becoming a recording artist? What's your kind of musical journey, if you like? Come and bring the kids on.
Come here,
come and say hello.
Say hi with your mouth full of cornflakes.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Come here, Nori. Say hi. Alright, you doodle? Alright, I'll soon come and change you.
Hey.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
This is Nori, this is Shia. These are my two boys.
Nora and Shia, hello.
And one is in Belly. My wife gone down the road now. Yes,
is it?
that's right.
How far gone is she?
She's almost ready to pop, October.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you looking forward to having a little brother or sister?
Are you looking forward to having a little sister?
Sister.
Say yes.
There he is, I can see.
Finally get the princess, you know.
Do you know how good your daddy is?
Alright.
Your daddy's a really amazing singer. Do you like listening to him sing?
Yeah, and they sing the songs all the time too.
Excellent, nice.
Sing lightning for him, sing lightning. I love summer down lightning, tonight in my soul, baby. My heart is for you only. Everybody's true, I'm in love with you. Take you as you are, lady. You ain't gotta change for me.
What?
Yeah, singing. Oh, it's you pressing the car key. No, Papa. No, man. Alright, you guys go that way now. I'm gonna finish my interview now, okay? Close the door.
Nice
soon
to
come.
meet you.
Hey, yeah, soon come. Don't open the door again though, okay? Close the door, Papa. Soon come. I'll be there in a sec. Thank you. Yeah.
And this is what we do on this podcast. It's just we just go with the flow, Mortimer, literally.
I'm sorry about that, man.
Don't apologise. That's staying in the final cut. I love it. It's great. What was I saying? Yeah. So, brilliant voice. Love it. Really sort of soulful, soul-influenced voice that you have. It's kind of husky. And your range is brilliant as well. You kind of flip from, you can do sort of baritone into tenor territory, and then you go up into a gorgeous falsetto as well. Where did this... Firstly, when did you realise you had this talent? And then how did you progress from knowing you could sing to becoming a recording artist now in your own right? What's your musical journey, Mortimer?
Well, like most people, I grew up in church. I used to sing a lot in church too. I was on the children's choir. I used to sing with my mom in worship. We used to have a lot of worship at home. And, my mom sings too. And we would harmonize with her. You know what I mean? And harmonize, and thing will come together. My father was never a singer though. He can write, but John, if he was supposed to sing to save him life, he would have dead. But my mom, was a big part of me coming into singing. I grew up hearing her sing around the house. Every time she would clean the house, she was just singing all the time. And I used to sing quietly to myself until, started singing together, as I said, when worship and church, school, I was on the choir, coming up. I remember when I was a little older now and I started going over to my brethren's yard. He had a little studio set up at his house. And so Saturday after church, when he would invite me over for lunch, and we eat, and then we head up to the studio, in his room. And that time I was singing like more gospel stuff though, I used to record some gospel thing at that time. I used to write my own music at that time too. And you know, we just record the thing them and play around, you know. I mean, not never came off them more than just, you know, just vibes, you know. But you know, those were important parts of my life that helped to shape who I am now. You know, my father is very passionate about life overall and the stuff that he does. He writes too. My mother is also a very passionate individual. I think I get that like a passion from them, or maybe it's just from me. You know, I don't know if God just made me that way. You know, but yeah, you know, coming up, you know, got older. Then I remember my first official recording in a studio would have been at Cell Block. My sister used to go to school with a brother named Sil Gordon's son. I don't know if you know Sil Gordon. He used to work with Buju back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, and he and my sister were friends, and my sister sings as well, you know. So he invited her to his father's studio, which would have been Sil Gordon, and at the time, she said some people wanted to meet with her, J Crazy Records at the time. And so I was like, yo, you know, like, tell them about me no stars, man. Like, tell them so we can sing to and thing, and, you know, if them want, you know, and, you know, we did that. Before that, though, like, we were doing backgrounds for some people, and, you know, going to, you know, my brother named studio here and there. I had a brother named Dane Green, too, that I used to play the piano with sometimes. You know, we used to ping pong together, and sit side by side on the bench, and play around stuff and thing. When I went there, we had a little meeting, and it started from there. You know, I did a song with Denique. From there to and another couple other stuff. I did my first EP with Barefoot Billionaires, Message Music.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was after that I really started to say, yo, you know, like, I want this. This is what I want, because every time I sing, there's this unexplainable joy that fills my soul and heart, even through my painful times. You know what I mean? It just, you know, that music is not just music to me. As I tell everybody, it's therapy. You know, like, music has been there for me through my ups and my downs. Even now, if me and my wife ever end up in a little downtime, that's the first thing I head to. I just go in my studio and just music. You know what I mean? I start creating, or I write. She said I write my best songs when I'm upset.
Have you told your wife that?
Pardon? No, she says that to me. She said, like, anytime we are upset or anything and I go and I write, she always say, yo, yeah, like, you need to be sad more often, you know, because, like, when you're at your lowest points, you write the best songs, you know. It was actually one of my lowest points. I wrote Lightning as well.
Okay.
Too. Yeah, you know, and I was just kind of I said to myself, you know, I needed to be grateful, you know, for the things that are around me, like this love here, for example, that me and my wife share, you know, in spite of all the things that we might go through. You know, it's ups and downs. It's like weather, you know, it's never always breezy, it's never always hot, it's never always cold. And if the earth allows itself to feel these emotions, as I call them, you know, these different elements of weather and thing, the earth allows itself to feel that without breaking apart. You understand? And when I say breaking apart, I mean like just falling apart completely, just like how we as human beings sometimes, when we go through certain things, we tend to make it overcome. You know what I mean? And we sink into that self-pity, and that we sink into depression. Some of us get sick. And we forget sometimes that there are so many things around us to give thanks for at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, like, it was a moment like that for Lightning for me. But, you know, that's my musical journey has just really been just me exploring myself, getting to know myself some more, listening to more music, being around more people, having more conversations, reading more, watching more, listening more, because it take a different kind of thing to listen. You know what I mean? Anybody can hear. We have 2 ears, everybody have that, you know, except for people who are deaf. You know what I mean? But we have a soul. It take more to listen. It take your heart and your soul to listen and not just hear things, because we can physically hear it. It not take nothing physical to listen. It take deeper than the physical to listen. You understand? So I've been listening to myself. I've been listening to the noise around me. I've been listening to the quiet around me. I've been listening to everything. You know, that's what my musical journey has been like over time. You know what I mean? My parents never too like it too much when I kind of stray according to them, you know, started doing the more secular things, because I grew up in a strict Seventh-day Adventist home. It was mostly gospel, you know. As soon as I started to divert a little bit, I got a little fight, you don't know, but it only made me stronger. You know, and my father wanted me to do art, because I also do art, like painting and drawing and things. So I was doing my degree at Edna in that too, in fine arts with a major in painting. I didn't finish. You know, I went over to music school. I didn't even finish music school. I just wanted to make music. You know, plus you don't know, like the affordability thing. There are times when, you know, school fee couldn't pay and them little vibes and thing. And the whole situation became a little embarrassing after a little while. So I just decided to leave, you know. And then I got a scholarship to go to IUC, to the media. And while I was there, you know, I just wanted to make music. I didn't want to sit in a classroom. I didn't want to be in a 9 to 5. I didn't want to do any of these things. And I was like, yo, at any cost, this is what I want to do. So even if my father threw me out on my head, which eventually happened, it's just so it I forgot go anything for this music, yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's something that I feel deep within.
If you want to go and grab yourself a tea, coffee or any other form of refreshment, do so now, because me and Mortimer will be back in just a few seconds. Can I just ask you, I'm really interested that you did art kind of before you did music. Was it that you felt that music was a better medium for you to express yourself in, or were you just more drawn to music as opposed to art and painting? Because I mean, art's really an expressive form of communication and form of, again, back to kind of what you're saying about therapy, actually, as well, for many people. But was it so something obviously drew you towards music then as opposed to art?
Well, to be like the straight Jane honest thing is that while I've always loved music and thing, my father is an artist, like a painter, and he teaches art now too. I wanted my own path, so it started out as me rebelling, you know, and just wanting my own thing, because he wanted to force me into doing what he does, you know what I mean? And I can do it, but I don't enjoy it that much. Like, I don't love it. I don't have a passion for it, really. You know what I mean? Eventually, my like for it grew, you know, and even now I still feel like I'll get back into it. But, like, now I'm in my own path. I wanted to show him that, yo, I can do my own thing. And the second thing, you know, as I grew, it started becoming about things like, it's the best way I can express myself too. You know what I mean? That was as I grew. You know, it was the best form for me to express myself, you know, through singing and through writing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, but at first, though, it just started out as a sheer rebellion.
That's good enough for me. I like that.
But for me, I want the road, you know what I mean?
No, I completely get that. I trained as a classical musician, is what Yeah, is what I did. Completely rebelled against that because I really want to do hip hop and soul. So I was like, yeah, well, I'm not really interested in the classical thing, and my teachers and my parents wanted me to be a classical musician. So I was like, no, I'm not interested in that. Hip hop, soul, and R&B for me. So, and then I ended up being a journalist. So if that's not rebelling, I don't know what is. You know, I mean, it's a fascinating story hearing you talk about how you got to this point, and also your thoughts on sort of music and art. Really interesting. You've also, I have to ask you about Protojé as well, because you've worked with him on several tracks. Obviously there was Protection, and then more recently Truth and Rights. I mean, has he been another sort of one of these people who you've actually heard as opposed to just been listening to? Because I have to say as well, I thought that was a really strong point you made there, because as you rightly point out, we all listen, but quite often all we're actually hearing is noise. We're not actually hearing what people are really saying, or we're not hearing what is really going on in the world. It's just kind of noise. And I mean, Protojé is especially powerful in the way that his music conveys messages, and it makes you actually listen. Which is really important. I mean, was as I said, was he another one who you really sort of listened to and who's inspired you somewhat?
Yeah, a lot actually, you know, and I've been listening to Protojé from a long time, you know, from the very first set of music, you know what I mean? And me and my sister used to sing them in the mirror. It's funny, like I used to use my roll-on bottle, and she and I were in the mirror, and I was like, yo, like imagine just one day, like me and Protojé end up doing a song together. Them time I don't know Protojé, I don't know Winter, I don't, like I was so far from that world, it's not even funny. You know what I mean? I was just a listener at that time, you know what I mean? And I used to dance to Hail Rastafari a lot too. You know what I mean? I used to dance to that a lot. That used to get me inside, you know. And then boom, you know, see it, you know, as time and Jah would have it, natural progression. We ended up having 2 songs together, not just the one that I imagined back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 2 songs together, and I saw him bigging up Lightning on his Insta account the other day. So I mean, he's a fantastic guy. Friend of the show, who was on a few months ago. Again, it's absolutely fascinating being able to spend time chatting to him. He is amazing. I mean, you also obviously he's been a big influence on your life. Is there any other artists which stand out, which throughout sort of your years have influenced you and shaped you as a musician, or are you literally just Mortimer, who sort of draws from all different areas for inspiration? Any particular inspirations?
Well, to be honest, there were certain people that I love more than some. You know, some people that made me feel something different from some. You know, every music is different, and everybody have something else to say, you know, everybody's expressing themselves in their own way, you know, but still, like, as a listener to different things connected to me, different sounds connected to me as a person. I love Bobby Womack a lot, you know, Donny Hathaway. I like people like John Legend too, for coming up recent. Jamie Foxx as well. I like Jamie Foxx's voice.
He's really underrated, Jamie Foxx, you know, actually. I think because everyone knows him as an actor. Got a great voice.
Definitely great voice for sure. You know what I mean? Bob Marley as well. Junior Gong.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, these are like the more recent people now too. I love Burning Spear as well. Twinkle Brothers, I don't know if you know Twinkle Brothers.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, Fate Can Move Mountains, and Since I Throw the Comb Away, and Babylon and thing. You know them tune there? You know them tune?
I have to say, I was sorry. I was just thinking about the fact you said Bobby Womack, and I was like, wow, that takes me back. If you think you're lonely now,
yeah, man.
absolute classic song.
Yeah, I just recently started listening to James Brown. You know what I mean? Recently, like probably for the last 2 years or 3 years, I've been listening to James Brown a bit. You know, and some other people, some other soul people. You know what I mean? I like alternative music too as well. We call that pop alternative music. You know, like people like Aurora. I don't know if you know. She's from England too, I think. I like that kind of music. I love the chord progressions and just the feel of the whole music too. You know, so like I watch a lot of mahogany sessions, you know, to see what's out there new. You know, I watch a lot of that, and I'm inspired by a lot of these people that are coming up. You know, just the way they write. A lot of times when I hear the songs, I have to go and revisit mine. I'm like, yo, shit, I need to go deeper, yo, because this is some yeah, you know, I need these people. I used to say, oh shit, like what the hell, you see that, like, nah man, they must smoke some kind of weed when me not have or something, yo, like no star. Yeah, so like they inspire me to be more and to dig deeper, you know. And my wife too, like she always, like I'll write, she's my biggest critic, you know. Well, I am my biggest critic.
I was about to say, yeah.
I am, but she's next, you know. Like sometimes I sing something and I'm like, yo, babe, waiting about this, and she's it's alright. I think you can go deeper than that, and I just rub out and I go again, and I come back and she's like, yo, this is getting better, you know. And I go back again and I go back again. Sometimes it comes one shot. Sometimes I have to rework, you know, as I go along, you know what I mean? Maybe I experience something later that day that I feel like, you know, it could be good influence to what I'm writing about, you know. So yeah, man, it's just all of these people, all of these sounds, you know. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a whirly twirl in my head, you know, of just this crazy amount of music, crazy amount of people that I rate musically. Yeah, and then like along my journey I've been fortunate enough to meet people who are as passionate about music as I am. And that's a blessing, you know what I mean? Because like when it's you one, it can be rough, you know what I mean? When it's just one have that kind of mindset. There are so many ideas and so many things I want to get out, you know, in so many kinds of ways, and so many. Sometimes I feel like my brain overheating.
But it all comes out in the end, and it comes out absolutely perfectly. So whatever you're doing, Mortimer, to filter what's going on in your head and get it out into music, it's obviously working.
I'm smoking a lot.
There we go.
Steaming a lot.
Perfect response. Exactly
yeah. So. And praying too, you know.
That always helps as well. Yeah. I hear you. Actually, you know what? Speaking of that, you're quite a conscious artist, and there's always sort of deeper meanings to much of your music, especially tracks like Lightning, obviously, and also Careful and Warning. Were extreme deep stuff going on in both those tracks. I mean, does your beliefs and your sort of faith and your spirituality, is that a major guiding force in your music, or is it kind of a part of the whole of what you do? How much does all of that, your faith and your beliefs, influence you musically?
Well, to begin with, you know, I think I've always had, you know, what people call like a more conscious mindset. All that Rastafari stands for has helped me to maintain the path that I'm on. You understand? Because like you can always be on a path, but then there are things in life that can kind of make you drift away and divert, and get your attention here and there, and you know what I mean. But I've managed to stay focused through Rastafari and the messages of love and hope and unity and togetherness. Those things stick with me a lot. So it's what they represent. So I'm all about that, and I think it influences my music a lot too, even in a romantic way too. You know what I mean? Like because when you get to understand love and being together with somebody as more than just hugs and kisses, and start seeing it a little deeper than that. These are things that I've learned over time by reading and by living a certain way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like while it isn't all, because all my experiences count, and there are a whole myriad of things that influence my music. I feel like my faith in Rastafari has a lot to do with keeping me on the straight and narrow. Because I believe that God is present and God is in my heart and soul. It's not necessarily an external thing. I believe that Jah is in each and everybody. And so it's just for you to get to know yourself, and by knowing yourself, you know God. You understand? So I try to keep my music clean, as clean as possible. Yeah, I try to keep it uplifting. That's what I try to do. I try to do my best at that. You know what I mean? Because there are so much things going on around about us nowadays. So many things that actually break my heart too. And many times when I cry, literal tears, and I'm not even afraid to say that. Like, I cry literal tears when I see what's going on around about us in the world, in our immediate circles, in our families, in our everyday life. Kind of break my heart. And through Rasta I am strong. So it has influenced my music a lot, for sure.
No, absolutely. Something I just picked up on what you were saying there, which I think is an extremely important point. You spoke about love in terms of it being more than just love, and especially within regards to music, because so many people write love songs which are kind of just standard love songs, but there's a difference between writing a love song and writing something about a sort of spiritual love, if you like. And I don't know, King Mass, I don't know if you've heard his Crown album from earlier in the year. King Mass, brilliant artist out of the US.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And he talks a lot about love in terms of on a spiritual level, in terms of that each household where there is this relationship should be its own sort of royalty, if you like. And it's what the whole premise of the album is about. It's very sort of deep-rooted in African spirituality, but it's all about how every household and every relationship and family should be royalty in their own rights, and there should be a king and a queen. And it's very all about sort of the spiritual side of love. And there's something which is quite often missed in the music industry, is that it's all fairly sort of corporate love songs, as opposed to actual what love really means and what it's about. And again, it's what comes through so strongly in Lightning, that it's about the spirituality of love, as opposed to just what say sort of the corporations would like us to view love as, if that makes any sense at all, what I've just said.
Yeah, man, of course. Yeah, man. Yeah, and I really give thanks that everybody can connect with it in such a way, because that song means a lot to me, personally. It's a song that means a lot to me personally. When that song, even when that song was recorded, it wasn't the day for that, it wasn't planned. We're doing another session, completely different thing, and then in the middle of the thing I was just like, yo, listen to this before we move on. Can I make you hear something quick? And I say, oh yeah man, go on. And I just started singing it. And then they like it, and then Winter started building the progression at the same time. and the drummer was there. All the musicians were there, and then we just deal with it at the same time. You know what I mean? It just happened as naturally as the love between me and my wife happened. I don't feel like anything between me and her has been forced. Over the years, everything just feels natural. You know, natural. I feel like I'm in a place where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be with this person at this time in my life. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? And there are so many things I've learned just by being in this relationship that, you know, I have several songs, as a matter of fact, about my relationship and about this love that I feel inside. You know, as I say, it's more than hugs and kisses.
No, that's exactly, yeah, that's the best way to sum it up, actually, I have to say. More than hugs and kisses, yeah, I love that. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Just to kind of wrap up, Mortimer, I mean, you say you've got more songs. What's in store for the rest of 2019 for you? And are we going to have another kind of longer record, EP, album, anything you want to tell me that's coming up on the horizon that I should be really, 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 really looking forward to?
Yeah, well, we're planning to drop an EP this year. So.
Hey!
Yeah. You know, I'm going like 6 songs. But definitely this year, and then next year, I'm going to drop an album next year. You know, so yeah, that work's coming out, and, you know, like I'm with Winter, you know, I'm with Overstand. So like we've both been just working, you know. I think I have an excellent team around me too. You know, I give thanks to them always. You know, we've been working really well together so far. You know what I mean? So far, so good. And I've grown too. You know, Winter has taught me a lot. Claire is a darling, you know that. You know what I mean? And they both encourage and inspire me a lot, you know, and they support me a lot too. You know, so...
No, absolutely.
Guys, no fighting, guys. No fighting. No fighting. No fighting. Both of you share. All the toys can be shared. Nothing belongs to no one person. Right? Alright. Yeah.
No, very. No thing belongs to any one person. Exactly. So yeah, we could talk about that as a whole nother topic in itself, Mortimer. But I'm really excited to hear you've got an EP coming out. That would be absolutely amazing, I'm sure. And it's fascinating to speak to you. I could go on for literally hours. But will you come back on the show when your EP drops, and we can discuss that and we can talk some more as well?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, man, whenever you're ready, you know, I'm here, you know, and I'm grateful that you would even consider having me on the show in the first place. I appreciate that, you know. You know, in some way, I'm happy because that means the music is connecting, you know what I mean, and I really like that, because really and truly, apart from any kind of self-gratification and any kind of instant gratification and thing, it's really about the music connecting you on a positive note. That's what really means a lot to me, you know what I mean? So, you know, I give thanks, and I give thanks for all the support that I've been getting from everybody all across the world, you know what I mean? I really appreciate it. Enough love, for sure.
No, absolutely. Mortimer, your music does connect, and then you're quite right. It's exactly why I had to have you on this podcast. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you. All the links to your music, including Lightning, will be in the show notes. And I'm looking forward to your EP when it comes out later on towards the end of this year. But for the minute, Mortimer, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Enough love. Appreciate it, y'all.
And that interview with Mortimer is what Topple Uncaged is all about. Relaxed, informative, where guests can come on, say what they want, chat about whatever subject they wish to, and if the mood takes them, their kids can pop in and come and say hello as well. You wouldn't get that on some other radio stations, but you get it on the Topple Uncaged podcast. Mortimer is fantastic. I think he's got this sensational voice, so soulful mixed with reggae, and his songwriting and lyricism is absolutely fantastic. I'm so looking forward to hearing hearing more from him in the coming months and looking forward to an album or EP when it drops. But for the time being, I want to play you the track that we were discussing on the show. It's absolutely beautiful. You need to check out the video as well. Link will be in the show notes. This is Mortimer with the absolutely sublime Lightning. Mortimer, Lightning, check it out.
Your love struck me down lightning, thunder in my soul, baby. My heart beats for you only. Every word is true. I'm in love with you. Take you as you are, lady. You ain't gotta change for me. Need you from your crown, honey, right down to the sole of your very feet. Girl, my love grows stronger each day, baby, please. Don't hurt me just because you know I'll forgive. Girl, my love grows stronger each day, baby, please. Don't hurt me just because you know I'll forgive. Hold me until we die, weather together the storms of life. Won't always be sunshine, baby, we're flames of imperfection. Give me your heart and soul, love me like you've never loved before. Beautiful morning dew, I'll be your shoulder to cry on to. Girl, my love grows stronger each day, baby, please. Don't hurt me just because you know I'll forgive. No, my love grows stronger each day, baby,
And that's it. Another very special episode of Topple Uncaged is done. I'd like to thank my fantastic guest, the incredible Mortimer. Follow him on Twitter. It's at Mortimer876. As always, behind the scenes, thank you to the love of my life, the gorgeous Nicola Jeffrey. Follow her on Twitter. It's at Nicola C. Jeffrey. My man behind the booth, sounds engineer Gav Pause. Follow him on Twitter. It's at Pause with a Z Radio. And my in-house singer, it's Ray Star Music. Follow her on Twitter. It's at Ray_Star113. Thank you to the Canary for uncaging me. I will see you again soon.
Uncaged.